Welcome to the 14th episode of The Window to Dubai. I'm here with Omar Al Busaidy. He is an entrepreneur, author, radio station host now. I think I kind of wanted to start with the book because we kind of got into it, and you just launched it called Just Read It, right?
Yes, sir.
Tell me more about how that all came about.
You know, a lot of people told me like what drove me to writing this book, and I always start with the story about how I used to lecture in schools and universities about the subject of entrepreneurship, the attitude of an entrepreneur. And the book really is a series of reminders of things that we already know about the importance of how we deal with people on a daily basis. All I did is I Omarized it. So it's a very easy read. There's lots of graphics. It's only 125 pages. A lot of people finish it in just one sitting, like in an hour or two, they're done.
And what was, I mean, you were talking about the different languages of like entrepreneurship. I think you were using like love language. You kind of explained that. Tell me more about kind of breaking that down.
So, you know, in entrepreneurship and everything, there's several things that are taught all the time in terms of our soft skills, how we need to develop our soft skills. So soft skills are communication, problem solving, critical thinking, and so much more. The list goes on. And we talk about emotional intelligence, social intelligence, so your IQ, your EQ, but we don't talk a lot about the AQ and the LQ. So the AQ is agility quotient. So how agile should you be and can you be? Yeah. And the successful entrepreneurs are the ones who've always been able to be flexible in the way they think, in the decisions they make. I know one of the quotes that I mentioned in my book is not to be stubborn, like to try not to be stubborn. Okay, some people came back to me and they told me, you know what, Omar, when I was stubborn, this was the point that made me successful. So my rebuttal to their point is I say, be stubborn about your goals, but be flexible in your methods.
Yeah,
so
definitely. That's
the thing. And this is a very famous quote by someone. I can't remember who the person was. And then the LQ, what I mentioned, was the love quotient. And this is a quote by Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba.
Yeah.
And he said, what we need to teach people and humanity or humans is to learn about being human, you know. Yeah. And what does that mean? We need to love each other. We need to try to support each other. We need to try to uplift each other. We rise by lifting others. All of these things are things that I mentioned in my book, including trying to do favors. And you even mentioned that yourself, William. You know, every time you did it for people, you know, things came back to you like tenfold, including this show. You know, you started with a couple of people and now you're like episode 14.
Yeah.
And you're with me now and we're doing this and you're hopefully going to have like even much more cooler guys, including Guy in Dubai, Paris, who's amazing too. Yeah. So like this is what I like to do, like supporting people, putting everybody together and going higher together. So this is what I talk about in my book. And the reason this came together very quickly is people tell me, so how did you end up lecturing in schools, universities?
Yeah.
This started because my first business was when I was 18 years old. I had an advertising agency. It shut down in 6 months. I had a clothing store selling women's dresses, wedding gowns. It shut down when I was 21. I had a consultancy business in Abu Dhabi that also shut down because of the financial crisis. All these things that kept like falling every time I started to set up something. I was like, you know what? One thing I learned is I'm a horrible businessman. But at the same time, I learned all these different skills, the skills I just talked about, all these different soft skills, because I was dealing with suppliers, with customers, with myself, with my family, all the whether it was positive messages, negative messages that came to me. And this is why I wrote the book.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Because I can share that I agree with you on the flexibility thing for sure. I think I told you I started in the US. Mm-hmm. I was doing like websites, Google, pay-per-click. And then in Europe, I was doing lead generation. And now here it's social media. In 4 years, my business has evolved like 3 layers. And now we're like thinking about the social influencing thing. So it's like, you know, it's just constantly evolving. And I think it's, you know, sometimes when you fail, it kind of puts you in a position to teach people. Mm-hmm. Right. And that sounds like kind of how the book kind of came about is through your failures as an entrepreneur, you were able to teach people almost what not to do and how to kind of think through it.
I love what you just said because this is where I'd like to drive that point to this very famous quote by Mark Twain. And he said there are 2 important days in your life, the day you were born and the day you find out why. So when people ask me, what's my why? What's my purpose? I'm an educator. I do it either through the radio, through my writing, through my speaking in different conferences. I have a TED Talk. I spoke at TEDx Youth, and my major target is the youth, because I wish the stuff that I've written in my book today are things that I have known a long time ago.
Yeah.
Had I read those things, or had someone told me, for those who don't prefer reading, had someone telling me those things, I would have avoided a lot of the mistakes. But I know, okay, whatever mistakes I did or whatever, it made me who I am today. However, it could have been minimized, and I probably would have achieved a lot more much earlier in my life than I am right now. So that's why I made the book colorful, try to make it entertaining, and short and straight to the point.
Yeah. And you said that instead of being kind of the active operational entrepreneur, you've moved more to an investor side, and that's kind of where you think you're going. And you kind of be the person that guides other entrepreneurs, not necessarily do it day to day.
Yeah. Look, I don't know if it's an Aries thing. I'm an Aries, and
So
we usually.
no
Way, man. See, there we go. See, we're like that. We're the same. So we are able to sort of we make a lot of logical sense. If you notice, we have a lot of common sense.
Yeah.
So you can come up. If someone can talk to us about construction, we may not know anything, but we're sitting in a meeting, we suddenly have a really cool idea for that industry or that business or whatever it is. So I prefer that if I had a pool of money and I already know potential businesses that can be very successful, and I just invest in them. This is what I want to do. But usually a lot of these big business, or these even small businesses, they have a minimum ticket, and I don't want to, I can't invest, it's too much of a risk for now. But I think in the near future, after I continue my master's degree and everything, I want to come back, and then this is what I want to do. I want to start investing in small businesses.
Yeah, I think for me, if I were to invest in businesses, it would be more based on the person running it than the idea.
Yes.
Because the idea is going to change in the next 3 to 6 months. Because once they get operational, it's going to be based on the individual I sit in front of. If I was going to give someone money, you know.
I'm looking for the next Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Wherever you are, if you're listening to the show, please reach out to Omar Al Busaidy.
And now you also are, I think it's the first English station in Sharjah, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So a few months ago, we were contacted, and they said they wanted young Arab speakers who spoke English from this area, and it didn't have to be Emirati, but I mean the fact that they found two Emiratis, so it's my friend Sarah Al-Madani and myself, and Sally Musa, she's actually Iraqi Australian, and to talk about current affairs. So we talk about tech, business, wellness, education, all the subjects that is important to us, but with our sort of like flavor and point of view. And even so, for example, you pronounce my name Omar Al Busaidy, but actually my name is Omar Al Busaidy. So that's how you actually say it in Arabic. So when we say Arabic names, and and we bring our sort of like flavor or spice to the topics, it resonates very well with the people living here, because traditionally you'd listen to these topics, but in English by a Western radio host. But now you have someone from here who can speak that language, and then we kind of add a little bit of it, because what we do is we add sort of maybe like local examples and things that we grew up with from in the past from here, and then to these. So we localize the global. That's what we've done.
Yeah, and because I think generationally, right, you're probably in that transition stage where, and this is just me as an outsider, I've only been here a year, where kind of your generation is the generation of where it's like Dubai has been what we know as Dubai, but you also saw it when it wasn't, and you kind of have that perspective. I was talking to one gentleman named Ali. He's one of my friends. His brother owns Drop, a coffee shop here, and we were wanting to do an episode where it's like him, who's the oldest brother, he has a younger brother and his father, and just share stories about like what Dubai used to be, what it was, and like what it is, and kind of go through that whole thing, because I'm sure you have seen it kind of transition over.
Absolutely, and it's true. And what I love about what we're able to do is we want to take people back in time, like back in history, and tell them like how every city, how every emirate transformed and what stage. And Sharjah, what is amazing, a lot of people don't know the first airport was built in Sharjah. The first seaport, Sharjah. The first, I don't know what, so many things happened in Sharjah. So when we're there telling them the story, people are amazed.
Yeah.
And we're bringing like thought leaders from every different field.
And Sharjah is kind of becoming like a startup city. I actually have a Sharjah Media City Free Zone company as a startup. So it's kind of known as the place to start up versus Dubai. Dubai is a little bit harder. It's a little more costly.
Yeah.
Sharjah is kind of that option to kind of get into the market, right?
Absolutely. And we love that we're being able to tell the story. In fact, the first show was obviously with the chairman of the Sharjah Media Corporation, Sheikh Sultan bin Ahmed Al Qasimi, and he said, is like, look, you know, what I expect from this radio station and from this show, the Morning Majlis, our show is called the Morning Majlis, is to tell people like what Sharjah is really all about, what we're about, what exists in Sharjah, and there's much more to know about Sharjah than just the traffic that people associate Sharjah with.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. So how can people find you? Your Instagram, maybe shout out the book, where they can find the book.
So the book is available on Amazon. So wherever you are in the world, you can order the book on Amazon. You can buy it also at Virgin Megastore or even at Kinokuniya. And you can download the book. It's on iBooks on your, if you have an app, so Apple product, so if iPhone or iPad. And it's on Android on an app called Kobo, so you can download on Kindle as well. So it's all over the place. Hopefully the audiobook will be available very soon, and you can also follow me on Omar Al Busaidy at on Instagram, on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook.
Same name all the way across?
Everywhere.
You got lucky.
Yeah.
William Gardner is a popular name. I've got one underscore. I've got a second underscore. I've got all kinds of different ways to get William Gardner.
Yeah.
What about the radio, the show?
The radio station is called Pulse 95. And you can listen to us live anywhere in the world. We actually have a lot of people from LA as well that tune in.
Yeah.
And you can download the app Sharjah Media Corporation or go on the website and find Pulse 95 and you can listen to us. We're live from 8 in the morning till 10 a.m.
Nice. And what would you want to close with? People know about you, know about your mission, what you're doing. I
like to say this quote that was quoted by, I think it was Margaret Thatcher. It's interesting. And she said, watch your words, they become, watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habit. Watch your habits, they become your character. And watch your character, because it becomes your destiny. So it all comes down with your thoughts. The more you look into life and people and everything in a positive perspective, it will reflect on everything you're doing and on the rest of the world. The world obviously, since the beginning of time, has always had conflicts everywhere. The only thing is now we just see it's more apparent because of social media.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. So it's always had conflicts everywhere. But it all comes down to the individual, and we are able to make a difference. And if you can make a difference, whether you're on a podcast, on a TV show, and you're writing the next book, try to send that message across and spread love. That's all I have to say.
Awesome. Okay, that was a great episode. I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you, William.
Thank you.